Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. Honorée, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Mr. Pickles is at the vet. So
Yeah.
anybody who, this is your first video, I'm Honorée. I help people write, publish, and monetize their books. We have to be at least a little professional at the beginning. But
Just a
any
little
of you
bit.
who know me knows I have Rogue, the chocolate lab, Frappuccino the cat, and Mr. Pickles, Sylvester Pickles Esquire. And he is at the vet because he has kidney failure and he had surgery this week. So I'm awesome. Asterisk, see fine print below. I'm worried about my cat. How are you, Lucas?
I'm doing pretty good considering Mr. Pickles' state because I like Mr. Pickles. He's my buddy. I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm gonna be in a bad spot if anything ever happens to Rogue because Rogue and we got real close last time I visited.
yes.
So
I
that's
know. I
that's my
know.
homie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just having a blast working with two outstanding clients, and I love. I mean, you obviously have this same thought process, but to me, a successful project is a finished project. Like until it's done, we're not successful, no matter how well it's been
Right.
going.
That's right.
So for me,
But
I'm just
what is it you do? Who are you?
well, yeah, I was gonna say like, so in the training, I help people launch training programs, right? Online courses, create
Oh,
training products for their businesses, for their friends, whatever they want to do, right? But mainly off of their books. Two of my clients are both nonfiction authors that are making courses out of their books, and their programs are like almost really real things. So they've been investing time and money in this
sure.
development, and we've been investing energy in the project, and you can see the potential is always there, but once we get to the end of the project and it becomes a real thing,
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting for us. So I've been enjoying that this week, even though it's a lot of work. At the same time, it's a lot of satisfaction. So yeah.
Nice. It's nothing that we do is instantaneous.
Now,
Right? Books, nor courses, although courses can be faster, significantly faster, still so many boxes to check.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I like sometimes I get to do something that I wouldn't normally do,
Hmm.
but I do it because I can decide to do it, start doing it, do it, and finish doing it, and then look at what I've done all in the same day.
Yes.
That does not happen with a book.
Now, and the checklists make that give me that little adrenaline punch every day, because I get to check off something we did. Like this week, we were going through scripts. We've got a whole stack of scripts in a spreadsheet, and my big kick has been like send a batch of scripts, go into the spreadsheet, and they're now in review. And I'm like, yes, like I feel accomplished. Those hours of reading and editing paying off.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it made me
Yep.
feel good when I was learning more about how you do your process with creating books for people when you're helping them through their projects. That you had said you had this X number checklist, and I'm
Yes.
like, me too. Like it made me feel good that I was working with someone that could understand how satisfying that is.
Yes. I like it. I like it's 483 specific things that I do for each book.
Wow.
And I love the check, 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 check. I print it out so I can be like, check and check. Like, oh, I don't have to do this one. Cross it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
All
favorites when I have to have, my clients have to do some of this stuff because I don't have access to their financials. I don't have access to
right.
their banks. I don't have
Right.
access to a lot of their stuff that we need to connect to their systems. And I'm like, hey, here are the things I need you guys to do. And when I get that email back and it's like all done, 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 I get to go into the spreadsheet and update it. Like a whole chunk of it's checked off. I'm like, yes. And I really didn't do anything but update my spreadsheet. So
Is this a sign that we need more fun in our lives, that this is the thing that we're like, guess what, I checked off some things on my checklist today. I don't
but
know.
yes, it probably is a sign, but it's I think it's also a way like I think especially when you're in a service based kind of role, because we do both, right? You and I both create products, create content, sell products,
Yep.
courses, books,
Yep.
workbooks, all the things. But then we also serve people, and when you serve people, there's a different type of satisfaction, I think. Like,
Yes,
um,
totally.
right? It's
Well,
different
it's
than the
for,
word count per day as an author, or
yes, it's
yeah.
different when I publish a book for myself because I'm like, okay, published a book. People think that that's super cool.
Hmm.
What really makes me excited and happy is turning someone else into an author. So driving to their house and showing up, one of my clients like took his book and he was like, "It looks like a real book." And I thought, what did you think I was going to bring you? Right. But you just don't know. Right. I guess sometimes you just don't know
That's true. That is
if the
true.
person you've engaged is really going to follow through and provide a quality product.
That is a big problem. Bigger
Yes.
than I thought it was before I got into this work. And I only get it through horror
Yeah.
stories, through my clients. They're like, "Hey, I'm sorry if I'm a little guarded about this, but I've been ripped off a few times." And I'm like, "Tell me more. Tell me about how this has happened." One, I want to help them and give them the opportunity to vent and have someone to confide in and build a little bit of trust. But at the same time, I'm looking for all the signs. I'm like, I hire and outsource all the time, and I've never had those problems. So, am I like on the verge of stepping into something like that unknowingly, or like, and most of the time what I'm realizing is that it's almost never premium service people with a premium service reputation that they're hiring.
Oh, yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yep. They're
Yep.
always, they tried to save a little money working with certain types of uh, individuals, and then it ends up either getting dragged forever. So they have tremendous scope and cost creep, or it doesn't get dragged forever, but they get a really inferior experience or product. Now, I'm not saying that people that do work in that space are automatic, like free, like most like traditional lower priced
Not at
freelancers.
all. No, it just increases the likelihood, right,
Right.
that they're going to be a fly by night operation.
Exactly.
I think is the term.
Right.
Um,
For example, like logos, I published a logo for my business on my own for 2 years, which I knew wasn't great. So I had to hire someone to do it eventually. And the guy I hired was a fellow veteran that was referred to me by another guy I knew very well. And so, but I didn't know this guy from Adam. And when I reached him, he's like, "Yeah, I'm living in out of a suitcase in Mexico City." He's like just running around the world. He's like literally your ideal millennial traveling creator
all
guy.
right. Okay.
And I'm thinking I'm talking to a guy in Mexico City who's taking my credit card over the phone. It's like,
Right. Maybe.
but phenomenal job.
Well, so that's where you just don't know. Sometimes
Yep,
people undervalue themselves, but they're really excellent. So you get a good deal. Those are the
absolutely.
people you can encourage to charge more. And then some people, I was going to say, I was thinking this when you were talking. I'm supposed to be paying rapt attention, but I was also thinking. So my apologies.
It's easy to do while I'm talking. So,
Is that there are some people that are really good salespeople. So they sell you, they take your money, and then the minute they've sold you, they've gotten the money, they've kind of moved on mentally, and they don't kind of close the loops and follow through on what they've promised.
right.
But you're right. People that are what I think we are, white glove
Sure.
service providers for white glove people. I always say to someone who's skeptical of working with me at that level, it's like I have so much more to lose than just you as a client,
Right.
because the world is such a small place.
Yeah.
And you might think, oh, the guy from Des Moines would never know the guy from Bermuda. Well, guess what? They
They did.
probably went to Wharton together.
Yeah,
Right? Like
exactly.
there is some cosmic connection. And so you can't give bad service and not expect that it's going to come out somehow, some way later.
Hmm.
So it's better just to do what you do and be excellent at what you do.
Right. Well, the
Yeah.
checklist helps with that, right? Like make sure we
Yeah.
don't miss a step. I do have to ask you a question though, because you got my wheels turning now, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
you've done a revision to You Must Write a Book,
Yes.
which is like your flagship book, right? That's,
Yeah.
you know, so it's a
This
new
is
edition,
number
right?
4. Yeah, this is the 4th edition.
Fourth edition.
Mm-hmm.
So do you use your own checklist with your own projects? And is it any different for a revision? Like what's the experience like when you do a new revision of your book?
I would like to say that it is easier,
Hmm.
but it's exactly the same. So the checklist includes getting a cover. So did I have to get a brand new cover? No, but I needed to take the cover that was existing. So as opposed to saying sky's the limit, all creativity is available, I want the book to be distinguishable from the other version. So if you see the other versions, this is the thing, that this is the one that means fourth edition, is this red stripe across the top. And it doesn't say fourth edition, it just says revised, expanded, and updated, because that's what I wanted it to say. It could have said fourth edition. So you always start with the fundamental things: manuscript, editing, proofreading, right? The design. So all of that has to be redone. All of the files had to be recreated. All of the review of all the files had to be recreated. Some of the things that I'm looking for are widows and orphans. Do all the links work? And someone actually sent me, I had taken out of this version an article that I had included. I was like, if you want to read more about this, go to this link on my website. Well, when I made the update, that advice was no longer solid. So someone emailed me and said, I went to this link and it's not there. Where do I get this information? It's like, well, that's no longer applicable.
Ah,
That's no longer. So you have a previous edition. Here's a link to get the newest edition on me, which I use BookFunnel for that.
that's really cool that you do that.
Yeah, the checklist is a little bit shorter
Right.
because I'm not starting from scratch, but the quality control is exactly the same. And if I don't uh follow the checklist, and the reason I'm laughing is because I'm thinking, if I don't follow the checklist, the chances that something is going to be missed is as likely as the fact that I'm going to go downstairs to get something and forget why I went downstairs. So I certainly can't run a multi-page complex spreadsheet in my head or checklist in my head, because I'm going to be holding my phone and looking for it later.
Especially one that's 400 and 80 something points of
Right.
content.
Right. So I can go to different points of the checklist and say, this doesn't apply. This doesn't apply. But do I need to update my bio and make sure that it's correct? Yes. Do I need to make sure all the links are there? Yes. Do I need to make sure that the bonuses are accurate and updated? Yes. Do I need to make sure when I get the files, everything perfect? Yes.
Wow.
Do I need to make sure that the price on the back cover is the price of the hardcover? Yes. Did I do that? Yes. And is it wrong? Yes. So, whoops. So, the good news is I can have that remedied.
Is it the
But
same
yeah,
ISBN?
a hardcover and a soft cover.
No, like
No,
when you move from one revision to the next, does the ISBN stay the
it's
same?
all
It's
brand new.
new
It's
one.
all brand new stuff. So everything, every single thing, except for I did not start from a blank page. I did not start from no cover.
Right.
So I didn't have to do the cover design recon and research, right? I
Right.
didn't have to outline my book, write my book, all of those things, but doing a review. So I'm doing a new edition of Vision to Reality right now. Same exact thing.
Oh, cool.
I'm going through and making sure that it's correct, and then going through and making sure that it's updated. So there's several rounds of revisions, and then I will format it, and then I will print out the formatted version, and then I will order the proof and review the proof version. So yes, it's almost all of the things. I would say probably it's a 399 item checklist as a 400 instead of 483
Gotcha.
different things. Yeah.
So, so do you just sit down and read the book with your sticky notes and say what needs to be updated as you go through it, or did you walk in with like a section of new content, or like what's your kind of process for about the body of the book?
So I guess let's back up to the reason that I do an updated version. It's generally speaking, and this would go to the advice I would give to an aspiring author, is you don't want to have to keep doing new editions. I have done new editions because when I wrote You Must Write a Book originally, was giving like real time right now. You
Right.
want to publish on Amazon, Amazon has Create Space. Well, Create Space doesn't exist anymore. So I had to do an updated on that. My philosophy now is to produce evergreen content so that if you have to do a new edition or you want to do a new edition, it is not driven by the fact that the book is outdated. It might be driven by the fact that you have more information or expanded, right? It could be revised, it could be expanded, it could be updated for a number of reasons, but it's generally speaking, it would be in a perfect world internally motivated as opposed to externally motivated. In other words, Create Space was correct when Amazon used Create Space for their printing of books. When they got rid of that, that was an external force to make me do the updated version. So the fourth edition of this book was specifically designed so that I don't have to update it again, potentially ever.
Oh, cool.
So I took out the you should launch your book for 99 cents things, right? Because that is very granular, real time, or was at one time good advice to launch your book at 99 cents. Now I don't recommend that.
Sure.
But that might change. It might go back to the other way. So I left it so that it's more general advice around certain things that will be true today, tomorrow, and forever. The reason I'm updating Vision to Reality is Vision to Reality is the companion book to my coaching program, the STMA 100-day coaching program. And I'm certifying new coaches in that methodology. And that book is the companion. It's old, right? The information in there, I'm like, oh, and I had updated it sort of at one point and not really published it. I just had an updated version. And now I need updated, all updated. So that is a whole entirely new undertaking, which when I count the number of books I published this year, I never really throw in like the new editions of things, although I probably should because
it's a lot
they're
of work.
just about as much work as a previous edition. But I have learned my lesson or learned the lesson that as I'm putting this new edition of this old book together, that I want it to be evergreen. So now as I go back and I optimize previous editions of my books, I'm going to make the content evergreen. So I'll remove phrases, for example, like the other day, this happened.
Gotcha.
To once upon a time, or this happened, or I observed this. So I take out the time continuum and it's just,
Gotcha.
this happened. Doesn't matter when it happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And just knowing how you go through your process with books, I know that it's a pretty detailed review. You're literally walking sentence by sentence through there, looking for any potential occurrence that could be turned evergreen.
Yes.
Because you're very detail oriented. I'm just, putting that on the record for people that have not gone through that experience with someone who does this for a living.
Yeah.
It is a very granular review of the book, and there are many granular reviews, granular level reviews.
Several passes with each with a different intention.
Right. Yeah. So there is a considerable amount of work there. But it's worth it because your book's it's not that avocado.
Right. Well, I'm just gonna say, like, this was the first printed version of this book that I got. And I had been through it. And then I got the printed version and it was pretty perfect, but I found things. I found 4 things. No, they're not 4 things that anyone would ever notice, but they were 4 things that I was like, this is going to bug me. It's going to bug me. And so this is that copy where I'm like, okay, this is what's missing here. This needed just a little edit in the sentence. There was nothing wrong with it. The editor thought it was fine. The proofreader thought it was fine, but I was like, it's going to bug me.
So you can update those files and just reload those files and no one's the wares, right? Which, so what was this actually brings up a good point about the revision, because there are oftentimes whenever you bring a new version of a published piece of work to a distributor, we'll just use Amazon as an example.
Yeah.
because they're so popular for this space. These places normally have a threshold for how much of the content has to be renewed before you can stamp it revised and update, right?
Yes, to do a new edition of a book, it has to be 10% different.
Okay.
10% of the content needs to be different.
Or greater, right? So
Yes.
if it's
Minimum
10%,
of 10%
is that by word count? Is it by page count? Does it matter?
content.
Okay.
So I would say word count. I
Okay.
haven't ever talked to them because anytime I've done an updated edition, it's been so much more than 10% that it's a joke.
Right.
Right. So you're not wanting, you can. So to distinguish between edition 3 and edition 4, and this had 4 little mistakes in it that bugged me. So it's not a new edition.
Right.
It's just an updated file of the same book. It's just corrections. So
Different
you
than you
can go
must mark.
in.
Yeah, which is way different than the original book we're talking about. You must write a book, which had a
Yes.
full update. Yep.
Yes. So this book, I just uploaded the new file, and it was before publication anyway. So it didn't matter one way or the other, but it is important. It might be important to someone to notice that if you do a new edition, you can ask the retailers to push to all people who have purchased the book, the new
Oh,
version.
I did not know that.
You can ask them to do a push. Yes.
That's a really good idea.
Yes. So you can do a new edition and you can do a push. So everyone who bought the old version can get the new version. Not the same with the new edition. New
Right.
edition, different product. With the new edition, if you go and you look at my Amazon reviews for this 4th edition, which I think I put it out in February. So we're March or April as we record this. 2 months ago, I was able to go back and say this is a new edition of the same exact book. I didn't want to lose my reviews and
Mm.
ratings because there's almost 300 of them. So I didn't want to lose those. I wanted those brought over. And so I asked them to carry those over so they can do a push with a new version. They can do a carryover on your analytics and your algorithm from the old version.
That'll be a nice little shot in the arm for that brand, for that line of book. That's
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's my marketing side of my brain is going. This is a great opportunity for people to breathe life into a product that has been serving them, and can
Yeah.
continue to serve them. And you're giving yourself the opportunity in the future to see. I planned this into my book because you and I had obviously been working together on how to do this this first book. But I knew that if I was going to get down to certain levels of detail in the core space, which is a digitally dominated space, it's just the technology
You're going to
moves
have
so
updates
fast.
and things all the time.
I won't survive past 2 years without an update.
Right.
You
Which
know.
is fine because
Yep.
what color is my parachute is done every year. You
Right.
can do prepare for Medicare as an annual
Right.
update. When you do a 2022, 2023, 2024, 2027 version, you then have the ability to do a new version of the book, a new edition of the book, and carry over your algorithms, your analytics, your reviews, and all of that, carry it over. But it also is a standalone launch. So you can actually gain new traction with it because you can
Right.
engage the algorithms in a new way. That's probably a video for another time.
Nerd.
Yeah. But it's fun to figure out, like, do I want to do a new edition and have a whole 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 10th edition,
Oh,
edition by year?
yeah.
Or do I just want to do a new version and just change a few things and then ask them to do a push for me?
Yeah, I didn't know you could ask them to do a push. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Kind of fun.
Well, if I don't stop asking you questions, I'll just keep going forever. So I'm going to shut up now, and we're going to we'll close out this video with
Okay.
a little note about, well, one, go find Honorée's newly revised 4th edition of You Must Write a Book. You can find it in all the places.
Yes.
So anywhere you buy your books, whether they be print or ebook, you can find that book, and you should definitely go check it out. It is one of my all-time favorite nonfiction books. And even if I've used it 2-3 times, every time I go back and read it for a new book project, I find something that is immediately jumping off the page at me that I'm appreciative of reading that day, because the next project's going to depend on that. So thank you so much for that. And you also have a course at the Empire Builders Masterclass that can help people with that, and that would be Publishing PhD. So that's kind of the companion course to that book, and there's a workbook as well. So gotta love it.
Got you covered. If you want to write a book, we got you covered.
Got you covered.
Sure.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you in the next episode. Honorée, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Thank you for sharing your wisdom as always. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Like, share, bell, comment, all the things. And thank you for watching.
All right, guys. Take it easy.